Hello students, my name is Siddharth and I am the faculty of mathematics at Rawat Public School. Today in this video we will be learning about differentiation. The differentiation is a very important part of calculus. In the 12th standard we have 5 chapters under calculus and that got 35 marks in the board exam. So the beginning of the calculus comes from the differentiation. Let's begin with this topic, differentiation. So the differentiation is basically finding out the difference between two quantities. Like the difference means if I take this chalk and if I push it up this way, I am applying some force on the chalk, that's why it is gaining some height, right? Like this and this. So the height gaining of the chalk depends upon the force which I am applying on it, going up like this. What if I make some change in the force? What if I make some change in the force? It will gain more height or some less height. Either it will gain more height or it will gain some less height depending upon the change in the force. If I give some less force, less height will be obtained. And if I give more force, more height will be gained. And this is jobs, right? So what change in the force made the change in the height of the chalk? We find the changes of one quantity with respect to the another one under differentiation. So if I define what is differentiation, I can write one very simple and basic definition for this as to find the rate of change of one quantity with respect to the change in other quantity. So this is called the basic definition and the strongest one to explain what is differentiation. In the mathematics we usually take the variables x and y to define two functions, two different functions. So if I say there are two physical quantities or two mathematical quantities as x and y, two different functions, the differentiation can be defined by dy by dx. dy by dx, how do we read this? This is the rate of change in y with respect to the change in x. dy by dx, and ry can be any function in terms of x, like y can be sin x, any trigonometric function, y can be any logarithmic function, or y can be any other function. So there are 5 types of function that we need to differentiate, and I'll tell you today in this video what changes comes on those functions if we differentiate those functions. Let's begin with the first one, the algebraic. In the algebra we have the constants and the variables. So if I differentiate any constant with respect to any quantity, let's say x for instance, if I differentiate any x, the result is always 0. Why 0? Because a constant remains always unchanged. That's why it is called constant. It is not going to be any change in the constants. When you differentiate with respect to any quantity, the change in constant is always 0. That's why it is called a constant. The second thing, we have variables in the algebra, and a variable can have a power as well. So it is given by n dot x to the power n minus 2. So these are the algebraic function. Now if I talk about some differentiation of trigonometric function like sin x, the sin x gives us cos x, cos x gives us minus sin x. The tan x gives us sec square x. The differentiation of cot x gives us minus cosec square x. The differentiation of sec x gives us sec x tan x, and the differentiation of last trigonometric function cosec x is minus cosec square x. So these are the changes in trigonometric functions which we obtain after differentiating them with respect to some variable x, right? So sin x is cos x and like this. The next we can have the logarithmic functions here. What if I have some logarithmic function like differentiation of any logarithmic function is 1 upon x, and the differentiation of any exponential function ex is just ex, no change in that. Now if I take the differentiation of ax, another exponential function, which will give us ax log a. So these are some basic formulas we always need to memorize when we are differentiating the functions, because we should know what change will sec x give us if we differentiating with respect to the quantity x. The change in this function will be sec x and tan x. So that's why we need to memorize these formulas here. After the exponential, let's move to the inverse trigonometry. The first inverse trigonometry function is sine inverse x. This gives us 1 upon root 1 minus x squared. We have cos inverse x, which will give us the same change but a negative sign, but with a negative sign. The differentiation of tan inverse x is 1 upon 1 plus x squared, and the differentiation of cot inverse x is also same but with another negative sign. Number 13, number 14, number 15. Now if we have after this sec inverse x, it will give us 1 upon root x squared minus 1, and if we have the function cosec inverse x, then it will be the same but with the negative sign. So we have discussed the inverse function, logarithmic, algebraic, trigonometric and exponential functions. So these are the 5 types of functions which we are going to deal in the calculus to differentiate them, integrate them and to obtain the differential equations. So my friends, this is the beginning of calculus. These are the differentiation of 5 types of functions. I hope you would be remembering these formulas, these changes, so that we can differentiate the functions directly. So this is all about this video, the introduction of differentiation and changes in the functions of mathematics.